Hello guys, and welcome to CSL Week 2, Day 2. We have two great matches for you today. The first one's going to be Carelton versus Cornell. I'm joined here by my very handsome co-caster, Ferguson Mitchell. Ferg, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm having a great time. I've been looking forward to this all week long. Very excited things going on tonight. Of course, this is the Azubu Collegiate Champions. Azubu is an international games media company whose aim is to create a global gaming network for both the professional and amateur levels. Azubu is the title sponsor of OGN LoL, as well as the personal sponsor of StarCraft 2 player Violet. We're the Collegiate Star League. I'm AlphaFerg, and I'm here with my good friend, Steiniko. And we're here with Day 1. Of course, we do have a competition going on, a contest to win Heart of the Swarm keys. If you go to azubu.com and join the Collegiate Star League group and just sign up, and you'll be entered to win on November 22nd, one of 20 Heart of the Swarm beta keys.
Yeah, that is definitely awesome. And let's just talk a little bit about the first match that we're going to see, Ferg. It's going to be Carelton versus Cornell. I did speak with Carelton just a bit with their coordinator. They're feeling pretty confident overall in this season. They went 15-2 last season. Yeah, they have a lot of new players in the mix, this team, from even ones from last year that never even made it into their main lineups. And in terms of how they felt going into this game, they know that Cornell was good and that their 2v2 team was really strong, so they focused on trying to snipe that 2v2 team. So yeah, I'm feeling like Carelton was pretty confident about this overall situation. They decided to focus on the 2v2, so I think they're going to put up a pretty good match.
Yeah, and Cornell, they've been preparing well. They've been actually in the tournament in the CSL back in Season 3, competing in Brood War, actually. They finished 6-2 back then. Of course, last season they were 13-4. So a very strong team with very lengthy roots into the history back in the days before StarCraft 2. And they actually have a surprise 2v2 team that actually just won a very, very large international, a giant competition nationwide.
It was huge, guys. It was just so good.
We'll not spoil it for you. We'll wait till the 2v2 starts to let you know what a large national competition, very public competition, they won. We'll let you know then.
All right, and the second match that will be coming up afterwards will be RIT, the Rochester Institute of Technology, going up against RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. That will be coming up afterwards. So guys, stay tuned. We have two awesome matches for you. When we come back, we will hop into game number 1 between Carelton and Cornell. Stick around.
Base. Killer Base.
Alright guys, and we are hopping into game number 1 of the CSL match between Carelton and Cornell. Spawning here in the bottom left, representing Carelton, is the Zerg player IQQUPew, and he's going to be going up against Lunatic, spawning here in the top right as our Purple Terran, representing Cornell. So we do have a ZVT on Daybreak. Ferg, let's talk about these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I sat down with the Cornell coordinator, and he let me in on a little bit of how they practice and how they get around and how they get ready for the match. They actually prepare sniper builds, and that's going to be especially in handy here because Lunatic is actually a mainly 2v2 player, but his mechanics are really solid, and with the help of his team, he's been really shining in his 1v1 play this season. So could be interesting to see what he has prepared coming into this match.
Absolutely, so definitely going to be looking to see if Lunatic maybe has any kind of specific builds planned for a Zerg on Daybreak, and maybe even for IQQUPew. Let's talk a little bit about our Zerg player. He's apparently been on the cusp of getting Grandmaster for a very long time. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but I will take their word for it. I'm sure he is very, very good. And apparently last year he was, such a strong player, but he did struggle in some of his matches, having issues with creep spread and things like siege tank pushes. So, I mean, this is a ZVT. Lunatic could exploit some of that, but IQQUPew has apparently improved his play a lot and is looking to just have a dominating performance this season in the CSL. So both of these guys actually, very, very high-level players, and we should be seeing some pretty high-level play from both of them at this point.
Yeah, and it's really no surprise that IQQ has been having a hard time if he's QQing all the time. I mean, everyone's just pew-pewing all over him. It's
I know.
a hard
Luckily
life.
he's not. Yeah, luckily he's not playing against Protoss this time. Just pew-pew with little marine guns, pretty much. And we do see Lunatic. It looks like he is just going to go one racks expand here.
Yeah.
And pew-pew, just grabbing his hatch first and grabbing his pool afterwards. So far, it looks like Lunatic didn't want to put on any kind of early pressure, just kind of going to let Pew Pew macro up and do his thing.
Yeah, and chasing out that drone is oh so important, so it can't be scouted, of course. QQ may have sensed that the SCV coming down is that building of the command center, but it could just be, a blind. It could be a sniper build, it could be an all-in, there could be barracks building around the map right now. He has no idea, so definitely getting that scouting is very important. He will be moving in with this Overlord here into the natural to hopefully get a view, and I think he will if he chooses to get it very close.
Yeah, he's gonna sitting in that nice little nook up there, gonna be able to check the gas timings, and he's obviously gonna be able to poke in and see that command center is building. So we do see Lunatic actually grabbing double geyser right after his rack, so he's gonna want to tech up quickly, gonna probably go straight into Reactor Hellion to try and get some map presence. Meanwhile, we do see Pew Pew just kind of hanging out, grabbing his two geysers pretty early actually. We're at 4:30 here and they're already almost finished. So not going to go for any kind of, big mineral heavy play, 4 to 6 queen sort of build. So both these guys definitely favoring gas. I'm going to be getting some tech up very quickly here.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a techie kind of game. I wouldn't be surprised if I see Lunatic throwing down Factory pretty soon. Of course, he's getting his SCVs out, but instantly getting that double gas production on the way. Same with Pew Pew. So this should be a pretty interesting game if both players go to kind of in a tech race to see who can get that oh so important damaging units out on the field.
Yeah, definitely. And Pew Pew is just going to grab his speed, going to likely be grabbing Lair with his next 100, or perhaps throwing down some Evo chambers. And we do see that reactor coming down with the factory, and a third CC actually for Lunatic. So he wants to go very heavy macro this game. I definitely do like this play. I feel like Terrence can always feel like they can get away with 3 CC here, especially with Reactor Hellions out on the map. Unless the Zerg punishes you heavily, you are pretty much safe to do so. And we do see actually a relatively early Roachborn coming out for our Zerg player.
Yeah, this could transition into a kind of 2-base push. He's going to finish macroing up this second hatchery. If he starts pumping out units, that would be exactly what to look for. The Roachborn is over halfway done now, and there's no third hatchery, there's no additional drones. It looks like he's saving up the larva, just building one more. He's got 2 overlords, so that's pretty much a tell right now. He's getting so far, he has 20 supply extra to build with. Yeah,
this is definitely a very heavy pressure, and this is just a great build choice at this point for Pew Pew. I mean, we see Lunatic going Reactor Hellion into triple CC. This build that Pew Pew is doing is meant to punish this exact style, so it's actually going to work out really well. He should be able to do a lot of damage, and we do see the Baneling Nest coming down as well behind this. So this is going to be a complete all-in, basically. I mean, he needs to do, at the very least, a lot of damage, because if you're going to invest Banelings along with this, you just need to, at the very least, force the lift off at the natural or kill just a ton of SCVs. So one of those 2 things is going to need to happen. Hellion's now going to see some roaches coming across the map. This is going to tip Lunatic off, and he's going to probably start building additional bunkers here, or at the very least just getting prepared. And there we go, we do see a bunker coming up on the high ground. Ferg, what do you think Lunatic's chances are of holding this?
I mean, he prepared pretty quickly. He already has Siege Tech about halfway done. The first Siege Tank is out on the map. If he can save most of his economy, you can see he's already pulling those SCVs up onto the high ground. He should be okay. He's even walling in his bunker. So I don't think he's going to take as much damage as he could if he had not scouted this, but I still think it's going to be a pretty large amount of damage. Of course, these roaches are really getting in there right now, and the tank is about to be set. Siege Tech finishing in less than half a second, or less than half a... there it goes, it's finished.
Sure. There he goes, it is finished, no more half second left, and honestly, that was so huge. Tank now on the high ground, going to be going to work on some of these roaches. Hold position is going to be pretty unfortunate there, and the bunker is doing so much damage. I have to say, Lunatic is doing a fantastic job so far holding this off. He has taken almost no damage so far, but here comes the Banelings.
Oh my gosh, Banelings, but what do they kill? There's just a bunch of SCVs. They're going to kill some Marines, but if the orbital command does not fall, of course he can just lift it up. And once he pushes out with these siege tanks, all of this army is going to be pretty vulnerable trying to run away. He's just going to pick off a couple of the supply depots. What Pew Pew is doing, though, he is getting his third. It's a little bit late, but he has done some tech in the background, of course, putting down an infestation pit. Now Hellion's moving out, and they're going to be able to clean up a lot of these Banelings. Looks like a couple of Zerglings getting in there, almost killing a siege tank, but that's a lot of damage for these roaches to try to contend with, and I think this is going to be the end of that push right there.
Yeah, I have to say, overall, considering the build that Lunatic did, I mean, triple CC into Reactor Hellion, he just did a phenomenal job with SimCity, getting Siege Tech at just the right time. I mean, his timings are lined up to deal with pressures like that, of course, and he just did a phenomenal job overall. Now he's going to have insane map presence with these now Blue Flame Hellions. He's going to be able to scout this third, and it is not going to be mining for a long time.
Yeah, he can just run around with these Blue Flame Hellions. He'll be able to kill any sort of drones that get down there. And he's really going to spread out Pew Pew's army. Oh no, he's just going to run in, actually, and a lot of Lings here. Looks like a little hesitant to engage, but these Hellions are doing so much damage to that Ling army.
Yeah, his Lings are absolutely getting roasted right now. Those 2 roaches are definitely helping out, but I mean, he lost all of his Lings there. Now Lunatic takes a supply lead for the first time in a while here. And like I said, that third base is going to have a hard time starting to mine. But in fact, Lunatic actually swings into the natural. He's going to try and kill some drones, but that was not really worth it, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's sacrificing a lot of Hellions. The last one just fell. And that's a lot of Hellions for an exchange of pretty much just Lings. So I'd say this game is pretty even right now. Lunatic has totally saturated his natural here, and he's going for the third already. But meanwhile, Pew Pew has not gotten a single drone here at his own third, so it's an economic game, which is actually pretty bad for the Zerg. The Zerg player is getting those Infestors out, those oh-so-finicky units that could be extremely OP, or it might just be the reason Zerg are so reliant on an OP unit.
Yeah, the Infestors are going to be absolutely huge here. Pew Pew is in a position where he doesn't have any big advantages right now, unfortunately. In fact, he's at a disadvantage, and Infestors is going to be your best bet in terms of trading cost effectively, catching a big group of Hellions off guard or something like that. Lunatic at this point, his infrastructure is getting very, very solid right now. He has about 5 factories on the way. He's building a 4th CC. He has upgrades pumping from both of his armories right now, or excuse me, he has 2 armories. He's going to be able to pump double upgrades eventually because he has that 3-base economy.
Yeah.
So he is just in a great spot. Meanwhile, Pew Pew, he's got those Infestors out, and like I said, he really needs to make those work, or he needs to grab a 4th base. But he is doing a really good job overall, considering he didn't do that much damage to Lunatic at his natural.
Yeah, and Pew Pew now is setting up here at his own 4th base, going to take that forward position, which I kind of like. It will be, if he manages to establish it, it will be a nice building block for that late game composition. He can just kind of have a nice Broodlord flock there and slowly push it across the map. But he's going to be really in danger right here of a sort of 3-base push by Lunatic. Of course, he's getting double upgrades now. He has 5 factories. He's getting a lot of Hellions, a lot of siege tanks. He's getting Terran vehicle weapons upgrades level 2 to match the 2-2 of the ground army for Pew Pew. So it's going to be pretty ugly here if there is a 3-base all-in coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just have to point out, let's take a look at Lunatic's 3rd base. That SimCity is so nice. Any Ling run-bys, even any roach pokes at that 3rd base is going to be just dealt with so effectively by that siege tank and supply depot wall-off. So Lunatic has himself with such a great defensive position that he's going to be able to max out on 3-base with a scary mech army, man. It is going to be so scary. Pew Pew's response at this point, and I do like this, he's getting Hive. It's about halfway done now, and he has started the Spire. So he's going to be able to get Broodlords out at a relatively decent time, considering he basically did a 2-base all-in. And Lunatic is probably not going to punish that, so it's going to be a great position for our Zerg player as well.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to how well Pew Pew can utilize his Infestors, how well he can use that fungal growth to really lock down damage without taking damage himself.
Yeah, and we do have a little hit squad of Infestors. 4 of them are borrowed. 1 of them now going to be brave and going to poke up. He is now going up the natural ramp. He sees all these siege tanks and Hellions. What a great spot, and he's actually going directly under the siege tanks. But now he's going to be spotted by a turret.
A missile turret and dies pretty darn quickly. He got a little too big for his britches there and got caught in a very vulnerable position. Of course, 3 Infestors now are trying to get into a position. All these Lings are running into Blue Flame Hellions. It's not good at all. The Fungals go down on the tanks, but I mean, they're not even going to have to siege. They are cleaning up this army right now. And this 3rd is now, this 4th is now very vulnerable to attacks. There are a couple Spine Crawlers, but just look at the size of this mech army. 20 supply ahead. This is very ugly. A giant siege up from the siege tanks, and the Hellions are just having a good old time burning down the house right now. Here in this map.
I think Pew Pew got a little too fancy for his own good there. He didn't really need to do that, and he risked losing so many Infestors.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. He lost all of his Infestors. He's rebuilding some more right now, but he really needs all that gas to get those quick Broodlords, but he hasn't even started the Greater Spire yet, so he is
Infestors now, they're getting some nice infested Terrans here to try to harass these siege tanks, but it's just, there's so many units right now for Lunatic. Here comes the giant push from IQQQQ. These roaches are going to be able to clean up a lot, but will they be able to take out the last of this mech? I don't think so. I think there's just too much health. And these tanks are actually spread out pretty well right now. to absorb damage while they do damage themselves.
Yeah, I mean, supplies are relatively even right now. Pew Pew starting his Raider's Fire. He's going to be able to clean up some more of these tanks hanging out at his third base. Pew Pew lost his fourth base, which really, really sucks.
And Lunatic has his fourth setup right now.
Yeah, there is no doubt about that. That is not a fun position for him, but at the same time, he has a pretty good army, or he's going to have a really good army pretty soon here. Lunatic has the infrastructure to start making Vikings. He has 2 reactor starports. I think that's about it. Yeah, it's still really good though. He's going to be able to make 4 Vikings at a time. Right now on the field, he has 1 though, so he hasn't started making them yet. He hasn't seen any reason to, but he will pretty soon.
Yeah, and Pew Pew's really falling behind right now without a 4th base. Unfortunately, has not been able to expand here up into the corner position, but he's very vulnerable right now. There's still a lot of Hellions and Siege Tanks threatening this forward position. These Spine Crawlers are not going to do too much here at the 4th, and Lunatic's just getting totally set up for the late game right now.
These Overlords are actually getting such great vision on exactly what this mech army is doing. There's nothing to punish these Overlords, and Infestors, because of such great vision, are able to preemptively go out there and start fumbling this army. So good stuff by Pew Pew right now. He's doing the best that he can. He's going to start morphing in some Broodlords. He has 3 about to finish, and he's going to be able to deal with this mech army so well.
What will he lose? Look at these Blue Flame Hellions. They're roasting all of this economy. The Broodlords are scaring away the tanks, but he loses even more drones right now. Let's take a look at the drone count. 28 workers killed for Lunatic.
That's honestly though, look at his third base saturation though. Since he took that third base so late, it's actually working out pretty well for him right now. He still has an economy, there's absolutely no doubt about it, and he has a solid supply lead, and he has, but he can't throw away these Broodlords to these Vikings. The Viking count is starting to get very scared right now. He needs those Infestors to fumble those Vikings.
There's still so many Vikings, even 1 fungal. It does catch them right there.
That was some pretty good stuff. He's honestly doing a really good job. He took out about 6 or 7. No, he didn't end up finishing the job there. But right now, this game is actually very, very close right now. If Pew Pew can eliminate this army, he has a chance to win this game.
Yeah, but Lunatic now is chasing these vulnerable Infestors. The Infested Terrans are running away as well. There is 1 Corruptor. It is down. The Vikings are just overpowering the army. The tanks are doing enough damage, and that's going to be GG for the players.
Wow, that was a great first game. IQQ, U Pew Pew. He didn't live up to his name because he, in fact, was very well mannered. Took that loss pretty well. I mean, it was a very hard-fought game. It really came down to the fact that his natural attack, it didn't end up doing as much damage as you wanted. Lunatic just dealt with it so well, and from there he had the advantage, and he carried it all the way to victory.
Yeah, so Cornell is going to take Game 1 here in the CSL. This is Week 2, Game 2. We'll be back.
Dirty bass.
All right, guys, and we are hopping into game number 2 between Carelton and Cornell. Cornell did end up taking the first game, and in this second one, we have our Blue Terran HBT MGH spawning here in the top left, who I will be referring to as Matt for the rest of the game.
Matt.
And spawning in the bottom right, representing Cornell, is going to be our Pink Protoss Envy Yags. I'm just going to go with Yags for the rest of the game as well. So here are our 2 players, Ferg. Let's talk a little bit about these guys.
Yeah, so actually, I first wanted to start out by saying if I was going to spell Matt, I would definitely do it HBTMGH.
No, it seems reasonable, I feel like.
So Yegs, I did get a little feedback about him. He is the co-president of the Cornell team, and he actually keeps track of all of the kind of diplomatic stuff. He organizes all the practice sessions for his team, and he actually helps with the strategy as well, fleshing out sniper builds, and he's a pretty scary Protoss player, is what I found out about Yegs.
All right, so Yegs definitely, one of the solid members of the team, putting things together. And, our Terran player for Carelton, he is actually a new player, or he was on the team last year, but he didn't really end up playing all that much. He didn't really start. So this is actually his debut match for Carelton, so I'm pretty sure he's trying to prove himself here. He is a high Masters Terran, so that just goes to show you how competitive Carelton's team was last year. I mean, this guy is high Masters, and he wasn't really able to, break into the lineup. So here he is in this brand new CSL season, and he's going to get things started off for Carelton, hopefully get their first win of this match.
That's really exciting. I love seeing new players trying out. I love seeing people rise up through the ranks and kind of getting that first shot at representing their team and really kind of becoming kind of a fixture in their community, because they have that, they have that first game behind them. They have the blood on their hands. They're ready to get into the next matches from there.
Yeah, and no, I'm really excited to see how these 2 guys end up playing. I mean, again, both very high caliber players. We do see Matt just opening up Gasless Expand. No big surprise, we are on Metropolis here. I mean, it's cross spawns, huge map. I mean, if anybody has seen any games on Metropolis, you know that they typically turn into split map, big macro play. So
yeah,
that is what we're starting to see so far. And on the Protoss side, Yegs looks like he's just hanging out on 1 gas, and he only has 2 probes in that gas, so he is favoring minerals. And there we go, he does drop that relatively early Nexus, not too far behind his Terran opponent, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice kind of easy expand builds for both players. There's not going to be any sort of pressure coming out early. The earliest pressure I could imagine is maybe some sort of 3-gate expand coming down here late from Yags, but it looks like he is just having a nice time hanging out and focusing on economy.
He is doing just that. He actually pulled all of his probes out of gas for a little bit, now putting 3 back on there, and I'm wondering if that is for quicker gateways. That's going to be my best guess. Hopefully he doesn't prove me wrong here. Either that or it would have been a quick 3rd Nexus. So we're going to have to see. He is chrono boosting his cybernetics core, so that does lend itself to, once again, being 3 gateway pressure here. He does start a 2nd Stalker, though. Kind of an interesting build. Hopefully Yegs utilizes his minerals and puts on some pressure. I would love to see that.
Yeah, and we'll see, meanwhile, back in the base of Matt, Hibitmuga, Matt, he's got his bunker up. He's saturating at that natural. He's going to focus on getting out a lot of SUVs, and he does have a factory coming out with a reactor, so possibly going to do... Yeah, there is a double factory, so it definitely looks like he's going to be teching up with the mech.
Yeah, gonna be opening up Reactor Hellions. Definitely an interesting style against Protoss. Don't blame him for doing that style on this map, because it is just so big that the Hellions will give you some decent map presence overall. And if we look at Matt's vision, he doesn't really have all that much going on for him. He saw the Stalker poke, but beyond that, he has no watchtower vision, and he really doesn't know what's coming at him. And as of right now, Yegs has a couple of Stalkers on the map. His 2 additional gateways are going to finish up, and it looks like he is just going to tech into robotics nice and slow. So not going to be putting on any big 3 gateway pressure, because he doesn't have a pylon on the map right now. So both players are just going to sit back, and he does actually force a 2nd bunker out of Matt. Scares him just a little bit by showing that 2nd Stalker. So a little win for a Protoss player there.
Yeah, a little win, I'd say. I mean, both players are showing very good control, not letting themselves lose a unit. Yags pulling back and definitely microing back the correct unit, almost picking off that one Marine, but Matt pulling back just in time.
And that was a big moment there. Yags did end up seeing the 2 Hellions, so now he knows, what kind of tech he is seeing out of his Terran opponent. When you see those Hellions, you know all of a sudden this is not your very standard TVP style. So we actually see double reactor Hellions. So that's going to be 4 Hellions coming out at a time here. Matt is going to be building up a solid amount of gas behind this as well. So I'm interested to see what he wants to do with his extra gas that he's going to build up.
Yeah, he's going to actually have a scary amount of Hellions. This just could be all Hellions at this rate. There's not too much that he's doing with that gas. And you know what? Hellions are a good unit if you have enough numbers of them. He's going to be able to poke in right now and do a lot of damage. Some force fields coming down, not enough to trap Matt's army, as Yags is now just trying to position and make sure he doesn't let a run-by occur, getting a nice observer there so he'll be able to see exactly where these Hellions are coming from.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty scary moment for our Terran player. Though, if that force field was just placed just a smidge better, he would have trapped 5-6 Hellions for basically free.
And that leaves you vulnerable to a counter push.
Absolutely.
Though on this map, you never know. It looks like both players are now trying to establish what they're doing in the mid game. Still lots of Hellions. 2 more factories in production. This is a nice push right here, but of course he's only damaging Protoss shields. He's going to have to do some damage to the units, losing 1 sentry right there to a nice force field. And this game is just kind of this force field's of course very nice positioning there. I like this this forward gateway preventing any sort of run by, making it so that 2 force fields can block this ramp instead of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see, it looks like a second robotics facility coming out for our Protoss player.
Oh.
And, yeah.
That is a lot of Colossi. It's actually the most Colossi.
Oh.
So here we have, it looks like Matt is setting up a third. He's actually throwing down the gas before the command center is even sent down. So getting definitely a little bit gassy up in here. It looks like Yags is really just stuck on his 2 bases right now. He tried to send a probe there over to the 3rd base, did not get in there, but that's okay. Still running in with these Hellions, getting a bit more caught there. I don't think that's going to keep working. Yags is really making sure to be vigilant and not let anything through. And now with the Colossi out, these Hellions do not have much of a chance. It looks like Yags, though, has definitely fallen behind economically, only now getting his probe in position to set up that 3rd Nexus. I don't know, Chris, what do you think is really going to happen from here? This could be a very scary Colossus push. Extended Thermal Lance is halfway done. Colossi are coming out on the field, getting some defense here at the 3rd. Matt's going to have to find a way to transition to something that can do damage, and he does have 2 starports on the way, but if he doesn't get that Viking number up in time, the Stalkers can really damage a low Viking count.
Yeah, absolutely. He is going to transition into double starport, so he's going to be able to make a lot of Vikings at this point. And we're going to have to see when Yags wants to transition into Templar at this point. I mean, you don't want to just keep building Colossus forever because, if you get that Viking count high enough, they're just going to evaporate, so it's not really going to work out too well for you. We do see, Matt producing more Hellions and Siege Tanks behind this, so he's going to have an interesting unit composition. And yeah, it's just going to be split map. We do see 3 base on 3 base right now. But with the nature of the armies, it's going to be hard for these guys to push into each other. So I'm expecting to see more defensive play come out from both of them for a little while.
Yeah, and actually we see that Yags is transitioning for Immortals, which I really like, especially if he thinks that Siege Tanks are coming, because he can just demolish a large Siege Tank count with Immortals tanking for the Colossi in the back. And one thing I also like about Yags' play is at the 3rd here, he has a very nice pylon. He'll be able to warp in units to harass while his main army does pressure into the natural.
Yeah, absolutely. Ferg, you're going to have to take it away for just a little bit longer. You're just trying to fix up a few things here.
That's all right. So let's do this. There's 4 Colossi out right now, and there's a 5th one on the way. There's Zealot Charge, which I really like. That'll be able to do a lot of damage with these Warpin Zealots here. At the 3rd, if he ever elects to do so, some nice Stalker count. These Hellions are just not doing too much as they're trying to poke in here and get some loose stuff, catch it, and roast it to death. We do see a lot of Vikings coming out right now, 4 at a time, with this double siege tank, and that's the kind of numbers you need to pick off the Colossi. But really, no Colossus has been damaged, and with double Robo production, if Yag stays vigilant to continue making Colossi and Immortals, he'll be able to do a lot of damage. We even see a Dark Shrine being thrown down at the same time that Matt throws down some of this Ghost Academy stuff. There's 2 Planetary Fortresses here, which I really like also for Matt. He's setting up some PFs to really defend his half base, but now there are Zealots doing a lot of damage in the 3rd. This Pylon is just going to be so important, and these Zealots are doing actually a ton of damage. Hellions finally coming in here to roast away, and they're going to be cleaned up, but that's a lot of damage to take for Matt. And Yags, I think, is really caught up. He's even on supply. He has a lot of upgrades on the pipeline. He's getting Templar Archives as well. Hellions getting in here. They'll be able to take out a number of probes, but the photon cannons are doing a lot there, and the Stalkers clean up that army. I'm not sure that was a very even trade. It looks like Yags is, he's 20 Harvesters ahead, so he's going to be in a very good position. And now there are a lot of Colossi on the field, a lot of Zealots coming into this 4th. They'll actually be able to do quite a number. These Hellions never got Blue Flame, so they're just not going to be too efficient against these Zealot numbers, though they are light. Zealot, oh no, the 2nd tank will die here, and these Zealot Warpins are just keeping supply low for Matt. He is not taken out this Pylon. Of course, now he's trying to get in there, but more Zealots will be able to defend, and more Zealots getting in to do damage to this 3rd. So there's not a lot that Gags is doing wrong right now. He's just keeping Matt on his toes. You can see he's now positioning his army to get in here and do a very strong attack. He'll be able to take out this Planetary Fortress very quickly with the Colossi and Immortals. Oh my gosh. And actually, if he gets... Oh geez, this probe is throwing down so many pylons, even trying to take out the rocks here at the 3rd base. But here comes the attack for Yags. He does know that there's a Planetary Fortress, but it'll be okay because he just has so much damage from these Colossi. The PF is doing a lot of damage. It does take out 1 Stalker, but this army is now pushing in here, and it's going to catch some of Matt's army all alone here at the top of the 3rd base, and he is just continuing this push into the 3rd, taking out the missile turrets here. He's going to be able to take down the rocks and push into an almost undefended 3rd base for poor Matt. These Colossi on the high ground are going to be able to do a lot from here, and these siege tanks are really the last holdout of Matt. And now the Zealots are getting in here and doing a lot of damage. They take out almost all of Matt's army, and the Immortals now are doing the work that they were hired to do. They're cleaning up a lot of these siege tanks. The Colossi have managed to take out a lot, but the Vikings stand proud, and there's nothing to take out the Vikings right now. There is, looks like a High Templar Warpin and some Zealots here in the 3rd, but these Immortals are practically unopposed, and they're going to be able to clean up this Oracle Command very easily as the last Colossus falls. So Matt really not able to get enough Vikings in production, and the Colossi doing their thing, providing the damage they needed to do, while Matt just couldn't kill him fast enough, and this 3rd is now totally taken away. Thor's coming out, Hellions coming out for Matt, and I'm not sure what Matt can do at this point to come back. It looks like the 4th is totally set up for Yags, and I don't think that Matt really can come back without some really good positioning. He's going to have to take down the units. He's really going to have to expand and get more production going on.
Berg, I'm going to be able to join you for just this last part of the cast. Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now, but we're going to continue casting this game right now. We do see 3-3 finishing up for Yags, and I've been kind of catching here and there what's been going on, and basically Yags has just been putting on a clinic. Now he has his 4th base up, he has the upgrades, he has High Templar Tech and Dark Templar Tech, he has just been putting the hurt on Matt. I mean, at this point, his economy is shattered. And like you were saying earlier, he wasn't able to get that Viking count up high enough to deal with the mass amount of Colossus. We do see Matt trying to throw down some more command centers. And if he can hold on for, a long period of time, he can get his economy and his production back up. He does have the gas. He just needs the mineral so he can land a bunch of mules and all of a sudden have a pretty solid army out there. But it's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. And really, Matt does have to set up that economy. He has not taken the islands, which you can do as a Terran player creatively. He has not tried to expand anywhere, but at this unfortunate third, which has really been harassed for the last 10 minutes. It's been a pretty messy game right now, and Yags is really taking advantage of that, and he's going to have a pretty unstoppable army right now. He's even getting a Warp Prism, getting a Warp Prism fleet. He'll be able to do a lot of harass and just hit everywhere that Matt is trying to get.
Yeah, I gotta give credit to Matt. It's his first game for his team, and he doesn't want to tap out, and he's getting 2 starports and a fusion core. So, I mean, hats off to this kid for sticking it out and, trying to make a transition that would maybe catch Yags off guard at this point. But we do see Yags pushing into the natural. He is going to back up for now. But I mean, it's going to be so ambitious to transition into BC off of, a shattered 2-base economy, but he's going to try anyway. He has the gas, like I was saying earlier. He can make a couple of BCs actually. And Yags, his stalker count isn't too high. Sitting at 14 and 6 High Templar, but BCs are pretty good too. You never know.
And hold that thought, because Yags is moving into the main right now with the Warp Prism, but a very well-positioned missile turret by Matt is totally taking out the Warp Prism before anything gets finished. But Yags does get in here to the third to deny that unfortunate mineral train from the SCVs. Is there a battle cruiser on the field? It looks like he's being prepared. He has 4 starports, all with Tech Lab, but he's not going to be able to hold this impending Doom push. Looks like Thor's moving around to flank the army. They will be able to maul away at those Stalkers, but the Templar are doing so much damage. The Vikings are falling. The Immortals are providing a very strong backbone.
And Matt does end up tapping out, so that is going to be a 2-0 lead for Cornell, it looks like.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, Yags just played such a solid macro toss style, and Matt, his first match for Carelton, he employed a pretty unique strategy, and he played a solid game, but I mean, Yags' macro toss style was just a little too much for him on Metropolis.
Yeah, I mean, the aggression that Yags did was not very big, but the aggression that he did use was very effective. So that's going to be the end of Game 2 here at the Azubu Collegiate Champions. Remember, Azubu is the sponsor for this. There's over 318 universities competing with 600 teams in StarCraft 2 and League of Legends across North America, Europe, and Asia. So check us out at www.cstarleague.com for more info. In addition, you can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Azubu Media, and like them. Definitely get in there and see what they're all about. You can also like us at facebook.com/Collegiate Star League. If you go to azubu.com and join the Collegiate Star League group, on November 22nd, we will be picking 20 people to win Heart of the Swarm beta keys. I think that's about it. This was game number 2. We'll be back with game 3. Hello and welcome back to the Azubu Collegiate Champions. I'm AlphaFerg and I'm here with Synico SC2, better known as Christopher Messer. We'll be giving you the Week 2, Day 2 game. This is, of course, Cornell versus Carleton University and RIT versus RPI. We'll be going into it, but first I want to give a huge shout out to Azubu, the international game company that made this all happen. They've been a giant support for us here at the CSL, and they are awesome. They are a title sponsor of OGN League of Legends, as well as the personal sponsor of StarCraft 2 Player Violet, and I could not be happier doing stuff like this for that great old company. Of course, if you go to their website and join the Collegiate Star League group, on November 22nd, we will be picking 20 people to win Heart of the Swarm beta keys. So yeah, let's get into Game 2. This is going to be the 2v2. We'll be back in a second. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. We have the mystery reveal, of course, of what the 2v2 team for Cornell won, a national competition. We'll be back in a quick sec.
All right, guys, and we are hopping into game number 3 between Carleton and Cornell. And we do have Cornell up 2-0, and we're going to hop into this 2v2, spawning in the top. We do have Joe Biden and Barack Obama, a deadly duo for sure, spawning as our Zerg and Protoss player. And they are going to be representing Cornell, going up against the Carleton 2v2 team, which is going to be Hyperon and Abby, spawning as our Terran and Zerg player. So Ferg, you've been building up this 2v2 announcement and this tournament, all this stuff. What is the deal?
Joe Biden and Barack Obama, they won the national election. They will be the president and vice president of the United States. I'm just joking, guys.
Oh man, dude. You really,
They did campaign.
Painfully corny joke that whole time.
Yes,
that is the longest build up to a corny joke I've ever heard.
But they campaigned on an agenda of change for the 2v2 metagame and health insurance for drones.
Okay, I'll let you get away
That's
with that
okay.
one. That was a little bit better. You kept that joke going. I appreciate the commitment. So it is going to be a 2v2 on our new map, guys, Citadel of Gaia. Prodigy made this map, and it is awesome. It has produced some seriously awesome games. The biggest thing to note about this map is the in-base naturals and the fact that it is absolutely enormous. So it does lend itself to macro 2v2 play. No ridiculous cheeses are really allowed on this map. It just doesn't work.
It's impossible to get up that ramp. It's so hard. It is actually sick nasty, easy to defend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find it.
And we do see Joe Biden grabbing his in-base hatchery. So he's going to go hatchery first. Barack Obama, on the other hand, just going to continue chrono boosting his probe. So there is no change there at all. Very standard, actually.
Yeah, pretty easy stuff. It looks like now Abby is going to be taking her third, or her natural as well. Pretty easy to do. Barack Obama, of course, scouting. He knows what's going on because he did his research. He prepared for this debate of armies, and he's getting ready.
I feel like you just wrote so many puns. You just knew we were going to cast Joe Biden and Barack Obama, and you just have a notebook, and it's not even about the players or the map or the races. It's just terrible StarCraft president puns.
And I will be honest, I did steal some jokes. I did flip-flop about how I was going to make this presentation. I did, maybe stretch the truth. I didn't pay attention to any fact checkers. I just went with it,
Well, you and 47% of the other people are just appalled at your jokes right now.
Yeah.
If we take a look at Hyperon and Abby, did talk to the team a little bit, and they're new to the team, and they do a macro style. They were basically coached by the coordinator to take out this 2v2 team in Joe Biden and Barack Obama because they were so strong. So there's a lot of focus on getting this 2v2 team up and ready to deal with these guys. So they're going to play a macro style, as we can already see. They want to play defensive and just get into the late game, and that is exactly what they're doing. Basically, Barack Obama looks like he is going to grab a Twilight Council, going to probably open up Blink and or DT.
Yeah, this might get a little cheesy here. Barack Obama, what is this 2v2 metagame you're changing into? Is this the monster economy that I can come to expect from your reign of presidency? I hope not, because it totally looks like you're doing some cheese. You are now up to 4 gates. Oh my gosh. This is getting presidential up in here. Oh my gosh, 5 gates.
I don't even know what that means, but I think that, the 5 gates are going to be able to be supported by Joe Biden's quick in-base hatchery here. And speed is now finishing up, so it does look like they want to put on some pretty quick aggression. We do see Hyperon. He has a bunker up at his main ramp, so he's prepared to be defensive, and Abby is just getting the natural hatchery rolling as well. So they have no intention of putting on any serious aggression. We do see Hyperon getting a lot of Raxes. He's going to go, bio style for now. And we do see a Roach Warren for Abby. So pretty standard ground forces here. No airplay, no cheese.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it does look like the Cornell players are preparing to all in right now. Speed is finished for Joe Biden, and he has 10 Zerglings on the way. A bunch more just finished completion. Blink is over halfway done right now. And oh my god.
Yeah, at the very least, some hyper aggression. I mean, yeah, the droning has completely stopped for Joe Biden.
Yeah. Lots of Blink Stalkers on the map. Another pylon right here, though it is getting attacked by Abby's Zerglings. A very nice catch here by the Carleton University players. It looks like there will be enough defense here from Joe Biden, providing some backups to his boy, Barack Obama. And this is going to be some pretty hardcore pressure coming in on the Hyperion Abby trio.
This is a sick all-in. Like, absolutely. Look at how the resources are lining up for Barack. He has so much gas banked up, and he's just going to get minerals funneled to him by Joe Biden. And he's just going to have so many Blink Stalkers at this point that it's just going to be absolutely obscene. The Roach count is pretty low for Abby, and here we go. The pressure is going to start. Going to dart up on Abby's side, and Barack starts with his Blink Micro, and this is already looking pretty scary.
Yeah, the Lings are getting in now to do a lot of damage. The Queens are on the run. Oh my gosh, presidential. This is not very good. The Roaches are doing a lot of damage to this Ling count. There's a lot of Stalkers up in here. The Marines coming in for a nice flank, though, and the drones are preventing any sort of run-in. There's only 6 Stalkers left on the field. There is not much of a warping right now. 18 Lings on the way, but that was actually a very nice cleanup by the Carlton players. And it looks like they are going to be able to, oh my gosh, even catch this last Stalker did not escape from the base.
That was an absolutely sick defense, and what a time. I mean, Carlton really needs this win, otherwise, you know, they're going to be knocked out of this match, and this 2v2 team is just playing brilliantly right now. They wanted to play defensive, they wanted to take out this team, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. They are playing defensively brilliant right now. They just absolutely demolished those Blink Stalkers. Those Lings are trying to run back up in there, but now these Roaches have pole position on the ramp, and there's a good number of them too. Marines are going to swing around, Spine Crawlers are going up. I don't think they're going to break.
Yeah, and even now, Abby is starting to spread her creep down here on the low ground, and if they get positioned here on the low ground, they're going to be totally fine. And Barack Obama has not even taken his natural. Barack, what are you doing to your economy, man? You got to focus. And he is really falling behind. He does have a lot of Stalkers right now. He does have a nice hit squad here to infiltrate the army, but Abby and Hyperion are doing a great job of holding.
Yeah, absolutely. This the DPS from these Marines, and now Stim has been enabled. They are going to work on these Stalkers. The Lings aren't even able to go up the ramp. I feel like the synergy between the Cornell team is just not really there right now. Joe Biden and Barack, you know, having a couple of missteps here.
Yeah, and now the Hyperion tech is starting to finish. He will be able to build siege tanks. He has medevacs on the way, and that is going to make this bio army so much stronger. They have the stim, they have the combat shield. Oh, no, they don't have combat shields. What am I saying? This is just misinformation coming out of me. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to fact checks.
Just stick to the presidential puns you're doing. They're going so well, I feel like.
Okay.
And we do have two bunkers just holding a high ground for Hyperion. And Stalkers are going to work on that Overlord, but that's not really a big deal to Abby right now. In terms of just overall position, Carlton is poised to take this game right now. I mean, the production tab of Joe Biden and Barack is basically non-existent at this point. The all-in has failed for all intents and purposes, and they are just kind of sitting outside the base, soft containing, but in reality it's not doing all that much.
Yeah, and the siege tanks are starting to get out here. Of course, Hyperion will be able to do a drop, which now he is exactly doing, sending out that one lone medevac. It does get scouted, so the Stalkers do not do anything.
Yeah, they don't react in time, unfortunately. That medevac just flies right on by. But at this point they have seen it, so they should be able to prepare for that, no problem. But even still, we do see charge actually coming down for our Protoss player from Cornell, so kind of an interesting follow-up. It looks like they're not you know, giving up on this game just yet. But wouldn't be too surprised to see a Nexus come down, at least, you know, in the in-base natural at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, he's getting charged. He has 0 zealots on the field right now, and he's still, Barack Obama has not taken his natural. He's relying totally on foreign economy in the form of Joe Biden. It's really just unfortunate how this is being played out right now. Hyperion even building a third orbital command to just really be productive off of that.
That drop actually does come in from Hyperion, and Joe Biden did not prepare for it at all. He has to pull all of his drones. Looks like these extractors are going to go down, and maybe even a little bit more. I mean, there's nothing in this main base. They're all the way across the map, and this map is just so big.
Yeah, and Stalker's now coming in here to clean up, and a lot of Zerglings being built at home, but they don't even get the medevac killed, and that's really unfortunate, spending all that money, all that larva on stuff that you can't really use because they need to work on economy. Joe Biden has thrown down his hatchery, so he's going to be getting a little bit more economy right now, but Barack Obama still has not gotten more than just those gateways and Stalkers. He does have charge completed right now, but he's going to be facing a pretty scary push right now between Hyperion and Abs. This could be the closeout match right here. This could be the final debate between these two players, these two teams.
You just had to squeeze it. You just had to work it in there. You did pretty good. We do see Barack backing up with his Stalkers. He sees how scary that army is, so they're both going to back up. We do see Joe Biden actually grabbing that third in the slightly riskier location so you can get those extractors. We have talked about this before, how this is such an interesting third base because you can take it on the other side without the extractors and it's much safer. But even still, we do see a Roach battle going on in the middle. Barack doing some pretty decent trading, but the Roach numbers are actually so big for Abby. Lings from Joe Biden going in to support Barack. What a great VP.
Yeah, but the real problem right now is every single Stalker loss is one that he cannot rebuild because his economy is just not strong enough to hold. And these approach numbers are going to be continuing to stream out of Abby's base. You can see they're re-queuing up a bunch right there.
This might be the end of the race for these two in this StarCraft. I had to give it one shot. It was terrible. It was just I didn't even feel right. No, I couldn't even finish it. And we do see additional zealots coming in for Barak, but at this point, these two are on their last legs. They're both at pretty low supplies here. And Hyperion is at 150, which is more than both of them combined, and Abby's at 113, which is also much higher than both of them. So it's just at this point, if they are allowed to sit back and maybe get an economy up, then they can claw their way back into this game. But as of right now, the advantage for Carelton is massive, and it looks like they're going to bring this to a 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, this could be some sort of crazy swing if the entire army of Barack Obama and Joe Biden manages to take out some of the bases going for Hyperion and Abby. But it honestly looks like, though this is the Collegiate Star League, the Electoral College is getting involved right now and saying no to Barack Obama and Joe Biden. It's
that one up your sleeve from earlier. You didn't just think of that. That one was up your sleeve from earlier. That one was up your sleeve the whole time, trust me. We do see that third base for Joe Biden just producing. He's not actually mining from it. He could be getting some pretty solid economy from there. If we look at his drone count, though, it is at 42, which is pretty low. Barak just sitting on the 25. Hasn't made a probe and probably, since his initial 25. So he's just content on sitting on a one-base saturation. He is actually grabbing a random base. Look at where he's getting this, like in the middle left.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. It makes me wonder if he is even from America. It's really, really complicated right now. I think I'm going to have to change my election, Chad, because it's really just hanging out there, just like this third of Joe Biden that is going to be putting pressured by Hyperion's advance.
Yeah, look at the scary army from Hyperion and Abby. Just both of them together. It's just so big. And this third base is as good as dead. He is going to be able to make some infestors. Oh, actually, the majority of them are popping out at that third base, but they're not even going to see the light of day. And a drop straight into the natural. Joe Biden has a lot of infestors, though.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they can't really expand as soon as this second base of Barack Obama gets sniffed out. It will be destroyed. Just like Proposition 34 here in California.
There you go. Even working some props in there, not just Joe Biden and Obama themselves. And the infestors are just going to kind of hang out at the top of the ramp. They're going to outsource some labor potentially with infested Terrans. No, I wanted to give it one more shot. I feel like that wasn't really that great. We do see a medevac drop coming in here, and it's just going to be Ling and Infestor hanging out at the top of the ramp, and Pescatarians are coming down, but this push is just so scary. Hyperion's maxed out, and Abby is at 190. I mean, these armies are just too big to stop at this point. At this point, it's just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah, they're really just waiting up here at the top of their ramp, much like any president would wait for the ballot to come in. They're watching CNBC, and it all is saying that your army is not good enough, you're gonna lose the game, and Cornell is really facing an unfortunate situation here as the army gets up here into the main and starts taking away all the zealots are going down.
This is just an absolute swarm here in Barak's home base here, and GG does come down from Barak, and it looks like Carelton is going to tie things up, or excuse me, not tie things up, but stay in it rather, at a 2-1 score.
Okay, so this is the Azubu Collegiate Champions, an interesting game right there, as Barack Obama and Joe Biden definitely went for some of that, oh my gosh, all in from the presidential campaigners.
Yeah, that was absolutely, and it was actually a really cool all in. It was, I believe, 6-gate Blink Stalker off of one base, and Joe Biden was able to funnel a lot of minerals.
It definitely would have worked on ladder, or would have worked better. But this is not ladder, this is the CSL. This is some pretty stiff competition. Of course, we tested out these 2v2 maps to make them a little bit more competitive for people who wanted to go macro, and Abs and Hyperion definitely showed how to do that in that 2v2.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think it was less the fact that it was not ladder and more the fact that, yeah, it's just such a great map for macro. And, Barak and Joe tried to do a little bit of metagaming, and, you have to assume that you're going to macro on the map, so they wanted to do big aggression. It just didn't pan out for them. Hyperion and Abby were keen to what they were trying to do and defended brilliantly. So great job by them. Going to keep Carleton in the running. When we come back, we're going to hop into game number 4 between these two teams. So don't go anywhere, guys. All right, guys, and we are hopping into game number 4 between Carleton and Cornell, with Cornell being up 2-1, but Carleton clawing back in that 2v2. And now we have back-to-ones spawning in the bottom right. It's going to be our light teal Protoss, Katy Perry, representing Carleton. And spawning in the top right, it is going to be our green Protoss, Kolst, representing Cornell. He's going to be looking to close out this game for Cornell, and of course Katy Perry is going to be wanting to force the ace match for Carleton. Ferg, how excited are you for this game number 4?
I'm pretty darn excited. Of course, always seeing games go to a potential ace match is always exciting, so I'm hoping Katy Perry can bring it together here, just like she did in that great hit, California Girls. If you are just tuning in, this is the Azubu Collegiate Champions, Week 2, Day 2, Cornell University versus Carleton. After this is going to be Rensselaer Polytechnic University against Rochester Institute of Technology. Of course, Azubu, being the great sponsor they are, have sponsored this entire competition. 318 schools with over 600 teams in StarCraft 2 and League of Legends. Of course, Azubu sponsors 2 different League of Legends teams, Frost and Blaze, and the StarCraft 2 player Violet, who's oh so excellent at his Zerg play. If you like him, feel free to go to azubu.com and sign up to join the Collegiate Star League group. We're giving away Heart of the Swarm beta keys on November 22nd, which is actually 2 days away. It's on Thanksgiving, guys, but not if you're from Canada, so that would be actually not 2 days.
And yeah, so big shout out to Azubu as always. Let's talk a little bit about these two guys that are in this game number 4 here. Katy Perry is a very solid Protoss player for Carleton. And apparently he's ranked number 1 Grandmaster, but in the Heart of the Swarm beta. So that's not really quite the same thing, but it's still something to be said about being ranked number 1 in the HOTS beta. You do have a lot of great players currently in the HOTS beta, consistently playing, so you know, active in there. And he was also on a Day 9 daily. He wasn't featured necessarily, but in fact, it was a Day 9 daily where Root Cats was doing like his in-base hatchery shenanigans. And unfortunately, Katy Perry was in that daily and got slightly embarrassed by Katz's, you know, in-base spines, which, I mean, you know, it happens to the best of them. I mean, that's why Katz is so famous for his really unconventional and silly play. So Katy Perry, a very solid Protoss player. Really looking forward to see what he can do in this game number 4 and if he can force it to an ace match. And what do we got on this guy Cole spawning here?
You know, it's interesting you bring up that Katy Perry is number 1 Grandmaster in Heart of the Swarm beta, because Colts was actually featured in an early Heart of the Swarm video for doing a Nexus Purify rush in Heart of the Swarm. He was actually one of the guys making that content, and he got featured a little bit of celebrity for doing that Heart of the Swarm stuff. So these two guys probably have some Heart of the Swarm experience. Will we see any Heart of the Swarm units? No.
Yeah, probably
That's-
not, but we are seeing some pretty great PvP builds so far. We're going to
Yeah.
see Katy Perry opening up one gate Robo, going to get his 2 geysers. Of course, we are on Whirlwind, so things to consider here. It's a massive map, absolutely, and the natural ramp is pretty wide, so it's not really all that safe to take your Nexus super fast.
Which is
despite
exactly
the
what
fact,
Colts is doing. Yeah, he's
yeah, I
thrown
mean,
down
despite
that
the
first
fact
Nexus.
that it is such a huge map, we do see Cole's throwing down the Nexus, but that wide ramp can definitely lead to pressure being a little bit more effective on this map. But again, the benefits are it's just such a long rush distance, so we're gonna have to see how that pans out for our Protoss player in the top over here. Gonna be interested to see what kind of tech he busts out, considering he went quick. And there we go, he does throw down robotics. You're gonna want to get Immortals out ASAP, and that is exactly what he's gonna do. And actually, a delayed Nexus for Katy Perry, so Cole's getting the better end of the build orders by far.
Yeah, he'll just have a little bit more Chrono Boost, a little bit more probes, but that makes a huge difference in a mirror matchup. And if Katy Perry tries to push, he could actually find himself behind because there's just more units on Cole's side if he pushes too late. So this could come down to a pretty interesting build. Of course, Katy Perry will have one more Immortal. That one's halfway done, while the Robo facility for Colst is finishing just now. Sorry, and it could get pretty interesting. But oh no, and Colst is even going for the Observer first. So there is going to be one full Immortal lead for Katy Perry. Katy Perry showing what's up. What'll happen?
Yeah, Katy Perry actually, I think he already has an Observer out on the map somewhere, so Cole shouldn't be too far behind. Robotics Bay is coming down for Katy Perry, so he's going to go into Colossi pretty quickly. Colst has not thrown down his just yet. He's going to continue to make Immortals. I am going to assume a Colossus transition for him as well. So these two players doing the mirror matchups here, you know, it's just the build orders are so close. And Katy Perry's only advantage, like we were saying earlier, is he is up an Immortal currently. Could definitely play into a timing push, but if there's nothing that happens within the next few minutes, that advantage is going to be negligible. And Colst is superior economy will definitely be the bigger advantage.
Yeah, and if actually this keeps going, it could end up being just a competition to see who has more Colossi. It could set off some fireworks between these two players, as the person with the most Colossi just wins.
I am absolutely loving Katy Perry's play right now. He is not actually going to rush to Colossi. He is going to go for a Speed Prism with double Immortal drop, and this is going to be absolutely great against what his opponent is doing. Which also looks like he's actually doing something pretty similar, to be honest. He is getting that War Prism, and he's getting the Robotics Bay slightly delayed. So Katy Perry's aggression and harassment is going to hit sooner than Colst's. So if he can even up the advantage that way, Katy Perry will be in a good spot coming into the mid-game.
Oh my gosh, and this Warp Prism is moving out right now with double Immortals. He's heading directly for the natural. He has an Observer there in perfect position to see exactly what he needs to do. And if he can micro correctly, oh my god, they're actually doing. As Colst loads up his own Immortals in a Warp Prism, they're going to be gone, and these Immortals are going to land just in time. It looks like these Immortals are immediately focusing down the pylon, powering this Robotics Bay, and it is going to lie just unfortunately dead, but the Immortals are being caught here by Stalkers, trying to chase the Warp Prism. The Immortals are doing a ton of damage to these Stalkers here on the high ground.
Yeah, that micro was really incredible from Katy Perry. He just took down 3 Stalkers and a pylon for absolutely free. That drop from Colst is just sitting in the main base of Katy Perry, not doing anything because he is so busy microing against Katy Perry's drop. And Katy Perry is going to get out with those 2 Immortals. Just a little bit of damage on the War Prism itself, and now the 2 Immortals for Colst are out, and they are doing damage to the second robotic facility, but the army is prepared, and it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to take out anything. The Robo facility is totally fine, and even losing... Ooh, not losing it. It got saved with red health, can't see it, but that was close.
Very, very close. That was very, very close. And we do see Katy Perry going to swing back in with the Speed Prism. The 2 Immortals are going to be dropped, and only 2 Stalkers here. They're going to get cleaned up right away, and another small advantage for Katy Perry is picked up. Zealots are now being morphed in, and it looks like Katy Perry should be able to get out as long as he picks up the Immortals.
Does it very, very well, and you know what? This pylon at Colst's Robo Bay is just finishing now. Extended Thermal Lance only now is getting back on. It's about halfway done. And
No, it's not even Thermal Lance. He's still researching speed for Prism. He hasn't even started Thermal Lance yet.
oh,
So
you're right.
Pulse is so behind on upgrades right now on that robotic space. So all these little advantages that Katy Perry has been getting, and again another drop. He's going to pick off another Stalker in the main base and get out. Just keeps on building that small advantage and has not lost absolutely anything.
Yeah,
Just
this
some
is so
shields
annoying.
and health on that War Prism. Crazy good play coming out from our Protoss player. He is really looking to force this into the ace match. And Coles, I mean, he still has the supply lead, there's no doubt about that. But he's just now starting his second robotic space. So whereas Katy Perry is now producing double Colossi, Coles is a little bit behind on that. He's behind on the robotics upgrades. I mean, Katy Perry's just done an awesome job with those Immortals, and now he is taking his third Nexus behind this.
I really got to say, I kissed Katy Perry's play, and I liked it. He is just doing oh so well with this double Colossus production. He's getting the upgrades. He's getting a third. Nice pylons and photon cannon here to defend it, getting that gas. He'll be really, really far ahead by the time these two armies engage.
Ferg, I gotta give you credit, man. I don't know if I would have the balls to consistently come up with puns like that, and not only come up with them, but to say them each time, because I come up with an awful joke probably every 5 seconds, but my filter's pretty high. I don't really choose to say them. But you are just going full speed ahead, and the War Prism actually comes back in, picks off another pylon, I believe. Coles is just getting, that War Prism is being so risky, and another Stalker. Look at this, he's being so daring with these Immortals, but he always manages to get out with them and kill some stuff, and he actually forces a cancel on that third Nexus for Coles.
And I mean, Coles does have 2 Immortals and a Warp Prism just sitting in the main of Katy Perry, not doing anything. Really got to pay attention to what you're doing. I think he's totally lost track of his aggression right now, and Katy Perry is definitely taking advantage of it. His Warp Prism is pretty much untouched right now. It's just using, oh my gosh, even dropping these Immortals right now. Just doing what damage he can.
Steel. I mean, his name is Katy Perry, but clearly he has 2 very huge balls right now.
Yeah, he has the balls of Russell Brand, I would say.
Okay, it's an interesting choice. I'll just let that slide. And we do see 7 Colossi for Katy Perry to the 5 of Coulson. He is pushing across the map. He wants to put pressure on this third base. Katy Perry has it up and running very solidly right now, and that is going to mean a supply lead for him in the very near future. But if Coulson is able to shut down this third base, then it's going to be so big for him. And here he goes. He's going to break down the rocks to try and get more surface area. Ferg, who do you think is going to win this battle, man?
I don't know, man. I think it's going to come down to the person who is better.
Ooh, and Immortals dropped in the back. Such great positional play by Katy Perry. He is doing so much damage to those Colossi, and that is exactly the advantage that Katy Perry needed. He is melting all of those Colossi, and GG comes out from Coles. What a game!
Yeah, that Immortal drop really was exactly what he needs in the back. It tanked all of the damage coming out of those Colossi and managed to kill one all by itself, and at the same time, the Colossi of Katy Perry were just roasting everything. It's exactly the kind of engagement you want in a PvP like that, and Katy Perry came out way ahead.
Wow, so that is going to tie up the match. Carlton brings it to 2-2 thanks to Katy Perry's phenomenal Speed Prism, Immortal Micro, and just overall great play. We are going to go into the ace match in just a minute, guys. Stick around, and the result of Carlton versus Cornell will be decided then. All right, guys, and we are hopping into the ace match between Carelton and Cornell. Spawning here in the bottom right as our purple Terran representing Cornell is going to be Lunatic, who we saw in our first match today, and he's going to be going up against Katy Perry spawning here in the top left as our teal Protoss, who we just saw in that last game, forcing it to the ace match with some phenomenal play. Ferg, how pumped are you for this ace match right now?
You know what? This is that part of me that never wants to see the end of the Collegiate Star League. These guys are showing exactly the kind of spirit that I want to see in all Collegiate Champions games. I'm really excited to see an ace match. This is the first ace match I have seen all year, so I could not be more pumped than I am right now to see Katy Perry and Lunatic go at it to see who will be the victor this week. Remember, this is all made possible by Azubu, an excellent sponsor. They are a great company out in the world. They're an international games media company, of course, sponsoring OGN League of Legends, along with League of Legends teams Frost and Blaze, and the StarCraft 2 player Violet. We are going to be broadcasting all throughout the season. Of course, we end in February with the finals, so stay tuned for great Azubu Collegiate Champions from here on out every week, Monday through Thursday.
Absolutely. So we do have the ace match, like we were saying, and it is going to be a TVP on Ohana. We did see Lunatic in game number 1, and he ended up taking out IQQ Pew Pew, just playing a phenomenal mech style, holding off that aggression. So you know that Lunatic has great defense and great multitasking overall, crisis management to deal with a Roach Baneling push off of 2 base like that, and to just deal with it so effectively. You know this guy is great on his toes. No surprise to see him in the ace match, because that is the exact quality that you need to just be clutch in that scenario. And it looks like he is just going to open up 1 Rax expand, not going to do any cheese, just going to play nice and standard. He wants to get this win for Cornell. Katy Perry, we saw him last game, Ferg. How great was his play?
You know what? His play was so great, it makes me feel like a teenage dream. He's got it all going on. He definitely has the kind of solid play that I love seeing in Protoss players. He knows exactly what he is going to do, and his execution there with that Warp Prism Micro was just ideal.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And we do see him just hanging out on 1 gas right now. So, that lends itself to him wanting to take a slightly quicker Nexus here. Going to just build up those minerals. Also playing nice and standard as well. So, no risks coming out from either of these guys. They really want this win for their team. Typically in an ace match, you do have to have balls of steel to just do a flat-out cheese.
Yeah, and Lunatic right now throwing down the double gas. He does have 1 barracks pumping out Marines. He's getting a bunker, but he is focusing on tech. I wouldn't be surprised to see another mech build coming out of Lunatic here as he faces off against Katy Perry.
Yeah, definitely interesting, and it looks like he's going to get 2 racks after his geysers, so he is going to make sure he still gets a nice, healthy Marine count. And meanwhile, we do see the Nexus coming down for Katy Perry, just getting a sentry and just grabbing his 2nd geyser now. He's going to be able to throw down additional gateways if he would like, potentially do some sort of 3-gate pressure, or he could just as easily transition in a row. But we actually do see the gateways coming down for Katy Perry as well, though, so could very well do some 3-gate aggression.
Yeah, and Katy Perry did poke in there with his Zealot Stalker push just to see what's going on. The Lunatic prepared definitely adequately with a bunker, just making sure that no one was able to get into his base and see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And we do see the robotics coming down for Katy Perry, so it looks like instead of any 3-gate aggression, again, he just wants to play it ultra safe. We even saw this in his PvP, favoring getting those minerals up, getting those gateways up, not for aggression, but just to be safe against anything. And I don't blame him for that great style, especially in the ace match. He just wants to get this to mid-game where he feels comfortable. And his multitasking and micro was just incredible last game, so hopefully we get to see some more of that action in this ace match.
Yeah, and this could be very interesting. It looks like Lunatic is not going for the tech that I was thinking. He's thrown down a reactor, 2 tech labs, and has 3 barracks, all pumping out units right now. He's gotten the engineering bay upgrades. This is going to be some bio, and he's going to need some of that micro, because bio is just so fast, and it can hit across different parts of the map very easily. He's going to have to use it.
Yeah, so we do see Lunatic, like you said, going bio, and he got those first 2 geysers, and it's going to allow him to get a lot of things sooner. He's getting that +1 from his eBay. He's already, almost halfway done with Stim. He's going to be able to get his factory soon afterwards. So he's going to, get all of these gas-intensive upgrades a little more quickly, and he's going to be able to pressure Katy Perry a little more quickly. And that's actually going to work out pretty well for him because Katy Perry, he went those 3 gateways. He delayed his robo. His tech is just a little bit behind here.
Yeah.
So Lunatic definitely getting the better end of the build orders, and that's going to translate into really strong 10-minute timing push that is just so scary for Protoss players.
Yeah, and he's finishing 5 barracks on the way right now. He's going to have excellent production coming out of his 2 bases, and I think he's going to be pretty comfortable, even throwing down a missile turret right now, possibly thinking that there is a DT push.
And a scan goes down in the main base of Katy Perry, and Lunatic sees everything that he needs to see. He sees a Chrono Boosted Forge, he sees the robotics, and he sees the additional gateways building. He literally caught everything with that scan, so complete money for him. He feels completely comfortable going into this mid-game, and I think that's going to only reinforce how he feels about doing strong bio pressure. And yeah, we do see 2 more racks coming down before a 3rd CC, which just indicates heavy 2-base aggression coming out from our Terran player.
Yeah, and you can see he's actually focusing more on production right now. He's got a very nice bio ball. He's abandoned the bunker, and he's going to start moving out across the field. He unfortunately does not have a factory, so no sign of medevacs at all in the next couple minutes.
No, this is huge aggression. This is borderline 2-base all in right now because, like you said, he hasn't started any tech. The observer of Katy Perry sitting outside the natural saw that Bioforce move out, and oh no, a turret took out that observer before he could hop in the main and see, oh man, you're not even making a factory. I really need to get serious about holding off your aggression right now. He is starting charge. He has a Templar Archives halfway. Storm is going to be nowhere near complete in time, but he might be able to squeeze out an Archon. Lunatic wants to exploit the fact that there are 2 ramps here. Don't even really need medevacs to push up. He's just going to dance between those 2 ramps, force all of those sentries to use up all their energy and try and get some damage done. And it's up to Katy Perry to have phenomenal control here.
Yeah, and you can see that Lunatic is opting to take down the rocks before pushing up the front, which does allow Katy Perry to get some of his unit count up. There's a scan right there, seeing the Archon being morphed, and this is going to be close, throwing down some free force fields.
Nice scan on that observer to snipe it. That observer is just so crucial to see exactly where Lunatic's army is hanging out. So now Katy Perry a little bit more in the dark, a little bit more frightened about what is coming his way right now. Lunatic is committing so heavily to this, still of course has not started a factory, and now Katy Perry gets in the main with the observer. He sees it's 5 racks, he knows it's complete 2-base all in, no tech behind this. Ferg, who do you think is going to come out on top here?
I don't know. Lunatic waiting is just allowing Katy Perry to complete more tech. Charge is going to complete before this push happens. +1 weapons is on the way. There are 2 more Archons than there were when this push initially came, but now there's SCVs in the mix to tank for Lunatic's army. Stim is going to be in perfect condition. There are enough force fields to hold off this attack for quite a long time. There's the Guardian Shield catching some SCVs right there, but you can see that Lunatic is now bouncing and actually going up both ramps at the same time. Here is the giant engagement. Force fields going down, and SCVs actually tanking a lot of these Zealot hits. A nice engagement on the ramp. That force field actually working against Katy Perry, and this is looking like it's going to be lights out for Katy Perry as Lunatic is
this might be it. Lunatic is pushing in for the win for Cornell, and it looks like Katy Perry's army just evaporated, and GG does come down. Lunatic is able to seal it up for Cornell despite the fact that Carlton had such a great comeback. And man, what an interesting strategy. A strong all-in from Lunatic. In the end, Katy Perry had great force fields, but Lunatic was able to squeeze up both ramps, which is what he was trying to do the entire time. And damn, what a match, Ferg.
That was one of those moments where the entire fight happens in about 10 seconds, and it is very exciting. This is the Azubu Collegiate Champions. We will be back with a recap and a stick around because we're going to be going into the second match of the day after it. We'll be right back.
All right, guys, and welcome back to the Azubu Collegiate Champions. We just finished up Carelton versus Cornell, and in the ace match, Cornell was able to seal it up despite the fact that Carelton had such a great comeback. Ferg, talk to me. How was that match for you?
Man, you know what? Lunatic was really nervous going into that match, but he absolutely played exactly how he needed to. He knew what build he was doing. He executed it perfectly. And that final push, that's about as good as it can go. He managed to abuse both of those ramps on Ohana, and you know what? Katy Perry didn't have a chance.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was able to force it to the ace match, but not able to clinch it in the very end. A tough loss for Carelton, no doubt. After this, we have another match coming up, Ferg. It's going to be RIT versus RPI. That is, of course, Rochester Institute of Technology going up against the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. So we have another great match on its way.
Yep, this is the Azubu Collegiate Champions Week 2, Day 2. Of course, Azubu is an international games media company whose aim is to create a global gaming network at both the professional and amateur levels. Azubu is the title sponsor of OGN League of Legends with teams such as Blaze and Frost, as well as the personal sponsor of StarCraft 2 player Violet. The CSL is, of course, doing all the broadcasting and management for the Collegiate Champions. We have over 318 universities and 600 teams competing across League of Legends and StarCraft 2. We run lots of contests and tournaments and like to work with universities to host and promote LAN events across North America. Check it out at www.cstarleague.com for more info. You can like Azubu on Facebook at facebook.com/AzubuMedia. And like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Collegiate Star League. In addition, you can go to azubu.com right now. We're holding a promotion. If you join the Collegiate Star League group on November 22nd, which is 2 days from now, we will be picking 20 people to play Heart of the Swarm with beta keys. And finally, I'm AlphaFerg. If you want to follow me at AlphaFerg on Twitter, you can go ahead and do that. Of course, my co-caster today is Christopher Messer. You can follow him at SynicoSC. And finally, you can follow C Star League and get all of the good Twitter updates about this competition.
My God, you are once again the plugging master. That was just intense. And, guys, just stick around. We're going to be coming back with the match number 2. That is Rochester Institute of Technology going up against Rensselaer Polytech Institute. So stick around for a few minutes, and we will be right back with that match.